welcome back to Eat Sleep Game. My name is Luke, and this is episode 3 of the Eat Sleep Game podcast. This one's going to be a little bit different because there is bugger all to talk about, so we're just going to ramble for a bit. I am joined by Jake, as always. How are you doing, Jake?
Yeah, all good, dude. All good.
Wonderful. We have finally been joined by our third... He'll be here now and again because his work schedule is a bit more erratic than mine and Jake is. But we have Tom with us as well now. How are you doing, Tom?
Hello. Yeah, I'm well. I thought you were going to call me a third wheel then. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, I felt
I was going to say third chair.
That's nice. That's nice.
That's generally the mannerism that's used. It is what it is. I mean, it's better than pork.
Yeah, that's true. But, we'll quickly breeze over that. Not everyone knows
Yeah,
about that.
Inside joke. It's fine. Still good. Normally we talk about the news, or normally me and Jake talk about the news, but there's been none. So it's going to be an hour and a half of just silence with a little bit of breathing, I think.
Yeah. The heavier the better. Yeah.
I'm actually really good at breathing.
I'm asthmatic, so I'm not. So
yeah.
You might hear a puff every now and again or something. So I could definitely do the heavy breathing, I think. I think I could do that. I think I'll be okay at that.
Nice.
So we're
breathing ASMR.
Oh, yeah. People love ASMR. It's huge, mate.
It's true.
They love it.
It's
so
true.
We're going to make some money of some kind. Probably like 20p. But
we can make an OnlyFans for breathing ASMR. Done.
We don't have video, though.
Yeah, it depends on which website you want to put that on, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm sure the asthmatic population will love it. Wheezy lot. So we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to go a bit topic based this week. I thought some people already know me from podcasts and videos that I do, so they know a lot of the stuff I like and the bullshit I talk about. But you don't know Tom and Jake. So I thought we'd just have a general gaming history discussion. What games you like, what games you grew up with, what games you started out with. But we'll get to that. I'm reliably informed that Jake's actually played a game this week.
Yeah, for the first time in 2 episodes.
I was going to say, I mean, this is the start of your gaming history right now. So
yeah. Well, no, so we was talking about obviously Dead Space last week and Resident Evil. Now, I'd love to say I played Dead Space, but I didn't.
Okay.
I'd been wanting to do it for a while. Start Resident Evil at the beginning and obviously finish at the end. Okay. And I kind of want to get that done before the Village comes out. So
it's a good idea.
Yeah, man. So I just literally today started playing through Resident Evil 0, which is, I think it's one of the more forgotten Resident Evil games. It just kind of fades into the background a little bit, but it's an awesome game. Puzzles in it are super simple, but I mean, it's Resident Evil. The puzzles were always simple. We just overthought them.
Yeah.
But yeah, great game. Didn't get very far. I only literally played it for like half hour to an hour. But I thought, I've got to do it because then I can actually say I played a game this week.
So is 0 the precursor to 1?
Yeah. It's literally like a prologue to the whole thing, really.
Sure.
It sort of explains a little bit more about the T-virus and just like that real beginning stage of everything that spurred the Resident Evil series, essentially.
Yeah.
Awesome game.
Is it like a justifiable one? Do you need this?
You could have easily gotten by without it ever existing. However, I'm really glad that it existed because if you've played Resident Evil 1, then you spend a lot of time sort of talking about the initial STARS team that got sent off into the woods. You do a lot of reading about those characters and that, and sort of like the whole time you're like, oh well, will we find out anything more about it? And essentially that is what it is. You play through the initial squad that goes in to investigate what's going on up in the woods.
Bravo team.
Yeah. And it's just cool to sort of get that initial perspective of it. Obviously, in true Resident Evil style, there's lots of ridiculously outlandish nonsense because it's Resident Evil. But yeah, it's an all-round good game. Obviously, I'm playing it on PC, so it's like Is it a HD remaster? I'm not actually sure what the
It probably
Steam
is.
version is. Yeah, it probably. I mean, it would probably have to be, but I think it came out initially on during the GameCube era of the game. So when Resident Evil 1 got that like refresh.
Which was outstanding. Love that game.
Yeah,
I
really,
still
really
haven't
good.
played that. I keep meaning to. But
It's so good. It's really, really excellent remaster.
Yeah,
I really wanted them to do like give it the RE2 treatment, but I've been reliably informed that it doesn't need it.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, like the tank controls and stuff in it, like because it was more crisp, it kind of, it wasn't as distracting as the original PS1 was.
Sure.
But
don't
yeah,
get me wrong. I love the classics. So I was saying I'm going to play through all of them again. I'm actually going to play through the original versions of 2 and 3 as opposed to the remakes.
yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, that way you get the full experience.
Yeah,
of 3
literally.
and not like half of it.
yeah, but I could easily play Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 0 in the new Resident Evil engine like that. I'd love to trek around that mansion again in that sort of more 3D space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it'd be
would
really
yeah,
cool,
that would be
especially
cool. Yeah.
Like the level of detail they could put in it as well. I think it would just look incredible because the police station in the 2 remake was so well done. So
Just even the little subtle lighting choices they made for the
Dude,
remaster
yeah.
or remake was just
Yeah.
perfect. Like you go
The
down
lighting
this
was-
tight hallway and you just got this little bit of light sort of coming through the window. See,
Or it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
like a sparking wire or something is enough just to
Yeah.
like, oh, a zombie's
Yeah,
face. Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
I actually played the Resi 2 remake initially in black and white. I fell straight into it. I was like going into the noir version.
I forgot you could do that.
So did I.
Yeah,
Oh man,
it's
I might have to reinstall it.
Such a
Yeah.
better way to play that game. Like I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, eventually I did turn it off because I was like, well, I want to see this in 4K glory.
You can admit you were scared. It's fine.
yeah.
It's got all the lights on, little lamp next to it.
Oh yeah, boy.
His special
I
bag.
got
key.
my little night light plugged in, and there's like a little Casper the Ghost reflecting on the wall to make me remember. It doesn't have to be terrifying.
No, they can't come out and get you. It's not like the Ring. It's not
Yeah.
TV.
Not like the Ring.
You're safe.
Wait, the Ring. When I was younger, the Ring used to actually it was one of the
Brother.
few horror movies that actually got me. Like her just
I always-
crawling out of the TV screen. I was just
Yeah.
like, nope.
I still haven't watched it, but it's always one that used to get me. Anything where it's like real world things. Like there was one I remember seeing a trailer when I was young for a horror movie where it's a similar thing, but it was with mirrors, and I was like, oh fuck that.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
are you talking
mirrors,
about
like,
Candyman?
I don't know, mate.
It's just it's all the creepy imagery within the actual film, like that, and it's like all just eerie. It's like no, don't,
Yeah,
I don't
and
like
it's-
any of this.
It's the whole like you could walk past the mirror and you're like, what the fuck was like? You think you see something out of the corner of your eye, and you don't. It's just your eyes playing tricks on you. But anything that fucks with like real world things
yeah.
like that, it was always something that got me when I was younger.
Oh, big time.
Fun though. What about you, Tommy? What have you been playing?
Well,
Not Nier Automata.
yeah, well, yeah. We can flog that horse all we want, mate. But I'll come.
I
back
mean,
to
I
it.
need the
will.
game back at some point.
No. I'll still be keeping it. I could probably flip it for a profit, maybe. I don't know.
I doubt it.
But yeah,
Well, I mean, for you, yeah, because you
Yeah.
didn't pay anything for it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll take a $5. Why not?
Hey.
But yeah, I've been
$5.
playing. I've been getting into my FromSoft games. I keep sort of flitting in between them. But I've been enjoying Dark Souls 2 recently.
That's a strong word.
Which, yeah. See, I know you've got an opinion on it, but you're very much more of a Dark Souls fan more than I am. Because I prefer like Bloodborne, Sekiro. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. I also picked up Hollow Knight again today, which I don't know if you've played much of, but yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely game. And it's still challenging.
I was gonna say you're on a very Dark Souls tinge. 'Cause
Yeah,
Granted, the the Dark Souls of X is really overused, but Hollow Knight is literally the Dark Souls of that genre. Like, it takes so much from Dark Souls, even in the presentation of like enemies.
Yeah.
It is very much the actual Dark Souls of that style of game.
But just the world is just so sort of dark, and like it's like, oh, all these little characters that are just like, oh, don't go down there, everything's dangerous and scary. And
For just for Jake's purposes, it's a 2D side scroller.
Oh yeah, no,
Metroidvania style.
So it's been on my radar as something to play for a very long time. But I've got I don't know what it is. It's the same thing I was saying about Celeste last time. That I have some weird aversion to that style of game.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably put about. I mean, I finished it today. It's one of those ones where you go back. I know it's been ages since I played it, but I was on the final boss, and I just did it in about 5 tries this time. And I was like, okay, I haven't played this in ages, but when you go back, you're like, oh, this feels fresh again. So that was quite nice. There's still a lot within it that I didn't do, but it's still like, you know, a 30-hour playthrough. Because there's a lot of areas and a lot of world to sort of enjoy. A lot, again, much like any FromSoft game, a lot of side quests and side characters. That's all just steeped in lore. But yeah, it was really, really fun. But what after you do that boss, it's called like Steel Soul mode, where basically if you die once, your run is over. It's one of those sorts of things, and you die a lot in that game. So that's going to be interesting.
A lot of those games.
I never even bother attempting those.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of those sorts of games do that, don't they? Where you can like go back through and play almost like a shadow version of the level.
Or
like you do it in reverse and stuff like that as well, don't you?
Or I'm sure there's like plenty of mods for the majority of FromSoft games which would allow that.
Yeah.
But is it not painful enough? Why would you do that to yourself? You know?
Yeah, true.
Bloody masochist.
So a couple of weeks ago, there was news that Konami are like lending out their IPs to people, and all I want is a Castlevania game made by FromSoft.
That would be amazing.
Even if it's like a remake of Symphony of the Night, but in like 3D, and I just need that.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. That'd be incredible.
Never really got into the Castlevanias. It falls into that sort of genre of games that I've avoided.
Symphony of the Night is one of the best games ever made. Genuinely incredible.
What was that on?
Isn't it?
Sorry, go on.
PS1.
Right.
PS1.
Yeah.
That was it's often fought between that and Metal Gear for the best PS1 game.
Yeah,
I can't
never on my
choose
radar,
one
that.
of them. Oh, dude. I tried to buy a physical copy, and they're nearly impossible to get hold of. I had to get it on my Vita.
That doesn't surprise me.
Great. So good. And the Netflix show is actually really good as well.
So I actually did watch a little bit of that because my mate was trying to convince me to watch it, and
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's a bit difficult because you don't have any like background in it. I'm sure if they made like a Dark Souls one, you'd be far more interested, or you'd get a lot more from it because they'd pull, oh, that's that boss that he's fighting is turned up here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is something I got from, I think it was one of the earlier episodes where 2 of the first bosses you fight just appear as they just come up as like some of the first enemies that they fight in the TV show, and I was like, that's cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So it's nostalgia factor, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why
definitely pretty good.
That's how I get the nostalgia factor. It's like playing like I think I had it on SNES maybe, like the first one. Yeah. Maybe not the first one, but yeah, like just fighting like Dracula and like the zombie, whatever it was. Yeah. And it was one of those games. It had like a little manual, and it had all the bosses and all the creatures in it, and it give you a description of each one. And like just
I
as
miss
a
those.
yeah, exactly. Just as a kid, like I wasn't even that fussed about playing the game. Sometimes I just sit there happily and just flip through that.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I did that. I did that countless times with Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
yeah, Metal Gear, Resi, Final Fantasy, they all sort of had those little character bios. It's really cool.
That's the only problem with going digital now is there is none of
There's
that.
nothing.
You can get like digital art books and stuff, but I'm like, I don't want a digital art book. I want an actual flick through art book.
Mind you,
those cool things.
I've been looking at that new, well, not new anymore, is it? The latest Assassin's Creed game. What was that? The Viking
Valhalla.
one. Yeah. So, because for some reason it's not on Steam at the moment. It's available on PC, but it's not available on Steam. But I was looking at the buying options, and just putting it out there, price way too high. But yeah, there's an edition of it that basically comes with like an artwork book and a load of other stuff and like little statues and that. You don't really see a lot of that stuff anymore, do you? Or at least I don't.
No, I mean it's something I keep an eye out for because I do like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
As you could attest to, see in my officey area. But it is kind of going away a little bit. I think that there are still loads, but there is mostly for more prominent games.
Yeah.
You don't see it a lot. Or like you get, for instance, like I've got one ordered for Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
By Limited Run Games. They'll do the odd one where a game that is just digital, they will take orders for and make a certain amount of like cartridges or discs or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like in this case, a special edition. That's it. I can't quite figure it out, but it comes in a box that looks like a stage and it's got lights and stuff. It looks dope. I can't wait for it to arrive so I can see what it actually looks like. But
I just miss that sort of stuff. It's like Dark Souls 1. If you got it wasn't even really a special edition version of it. I think it was literally £5 more expensive, and you got the artwork book that came along with it, and the artwork book was amazing.
See, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I tend to do it in hindsight, especially if it's a new game that's come with stuff like, for instance, I just rolled credits on Death Stranding finally.
Congratulations, I guess.
Yeah, do you feel any better or?
You want to go for a walk?
Yeah.
No, there's plenty of walking. I feel like I've done enough walking in games forever now. I feel like I need to try something. It's a really odd one because there's a lot of meandering, fetch questy, just go deliver stuff. But the story is actually pretty good. It is a pretty typical Kojima style story. Like ever since Metal Gear 4, he's just kind of been unleashed and mental. And I put it to a couple of the guys that I do the other podcast with that for me, Kojima's becoming a bit like what's his name? The guy that did Interstellar. Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Because ever since Dark Knight, he kind of peaked, and since then it's kind of like, yeah, it's really pretty, and I kind of get it, but it doesn't quite click. Like Tenet was fun, it was fine, but like, he's more obsessed with the idea of the movie, or in this case with Kojima, the game, than it is laying it out for someone to understand it. The biggest problem I have with Death Stranding is that it shouldn't be a 40 to 50 hour game. It should be a 15 to 20 hour game, and then it's perfect. And it should not be open world. It does not need to be open world at all. If it followed The Last of Us style, because like the whole point is that you're going across America and connecting people back together to this network so they can all communicate and share information and make stuff and what have you. But the world is so sparse, and you don't actually meet any of these people in person. They're just holograms while they're in their bunker and that. But in my head, if it was more Last of Us in the world where there was a progression, you went to one city, did stuff, moved on to the next city. If it did that, you'd get a lot more out of it, because one, they talk a lot about, a lot of the damage that happened, and a lot in these, cataclysmic events that happened, whatever the fuck a Death Stranding is, because I'm still not sure. I know it's some kind of like Big Bang kind of event, but they're never really clear. I even Googled it and I still don't fucking know. Still ain't got a clue. But it's like untold destruction. It's like, but everything you can see other than the odd bit here and then is just grassland.
Yeah.
Like, or there's like some snowy peaks you can go to and that. It's not like Horizon. I expected it to look a bit more like Horizon's world, where there were like decaying buildings and stuff like that. There isn't a lot of that. It is just open grassland, and it's quite meandering and plodding a lot. And again, a lot of the problem with it is I genuinely found myself excited at one point. I was in work and I'm like, I might see if I can go home early because I want to get to the next, I was starting to get story stuff. And then I got home, played it, and they're like, cool, here's a bunch of story stuff. Now go just make some deliveries. I'm like, no, just give me the story stuff.
My only question is,
yeah, go on.
How much time do you get with Mads, and how fantastic was he?
Mads is genuinely the best thing in the game.
Well, I knew that from the trailer at the
So
before it
Troy-
came
Yeah,
out.
I think that's all you needed, wasn't it?
Mad stuff is incredible. And to be fair, the story is really good. I really, really like the story when you get it.
Yeah.
The problem is, the game doesn't really... you get like a bunch of story stuff at the beginning. You get little bits to chew on. And then you have nothing for like 40 hours.
It's the same issue Metal Gear 5 had.
So this is something I keep bringing up. I genuinely... Playing Death Stranding, you see a lot of the things from Metal Gear 5 in Death Stranding. A lot of the plodding, redo stuff, go do the same thing over and over again. I genuinely think half of the problem with Metal Gear 5 was Kojima.
Yeah.
He's become obsessed with this open world, and his stories do not fit an open world because his stories are very linear and very point to point.
Well, that's why Metal Gear 1 worked. Like, you could run back and forth,
Yeah.
but ultimately...
I mean, that's why all of them were. I mean, even as stupid as Metal Gear 4 got, it worked in his condensed world. If he did it like I said, in a Last of Us style, or especially Last of Us 2, where you had the big open areas, I think it could work then. Because there's a lot of building elements, and it's annoying because there's a lot of good elements that are underutilized. There's a lot of building you can do. You can make like structures, you can make roads, you can make like weird slingshot things, but you don't need to. They are pretty useless because when you connect online and you finish an area or make a delivery, it unlocks the network, and then you're paired up with, I think it's like 50 other people, and whatever they've built appears in your world, so then you can make use of that. So you don't ever need to build.
Yeah.
Even if you were playing it offline and you never had any of that, you don't even need to build. You can find your way around, which is arguably more interesting. But if the building was more connected to what you were doing they're not even cities, they are literally a building out in the wilderness. Like, there are big old buildings that say they've got thousands of people in it, and you only ever see one person. But if they were more tied to kind of like like Assassin's Creed 2 was, where like you'd go out and do stuff, come back, and then you'd improve your homestead. I can't remember what it was called. But if you help these people and it helps build up the world, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then near the end, you get to the other side of America, and then you have to go all the way back to do the end game, which is fine. It was a really cool bit because it's story heavy at this point, but it took 40 hours to get story heavy.
Oh dear.
It took 40 hours to get really, really interesting and get the meat of it.
I feel like too many games do that these days, though. Because even The Witcher 3 is like that, really. Like,
it is, but Witcher 3 is not as repetitive, and its side missions are interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas
true.
the side missions here are literally just cool. I'm delivering to Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. Did you drop any bodies?
No. So this is one of the things I really like about Death Stranding. It's got an interesting approach to combat. So if you kill someone, they can cause what's called a void out, which is just a massive explosion that will leave a huge, huge crater because of things and stuff that happen in the world.
Yeah.
And they will literally destroy a chunk of the map. So you're highly encouraged not to kill people, apart from in the flashbacks with Mads.
Yeah.
Apart from if you want to watch the world burn.
Which I would.
Yeah, or that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like playing GTA just for the sake of getting a wanted level.
But it's a really, because you get rope that you tie people up with. You get a a gun that fires rope that ties people up and stuff.
Yeah, I think I saw a bit of that. Yeah.
Huh, gunfire
It's
bondage.
a really interesting approach. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was a really interesting approach, but you do eventually get guns because you have got to deal with the BTs, which are the big monsters. Which the actual BT boss fights are really cool. They're really cool boss fights because they're weak to your blood, so their guns are attached to you and they literally suck blood out. So you've got to manage shooting whatever the fuck you're shooting at, how much ammo you got, and how much blood you still have in your body, because you can kill yourself by trying to kill this thing.
But that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Kojima knows how to work a boss fight.
Yeah,
he always has.
That's
you know.
Genuinely, if this was a 20-hour, more linear, but still probably a bit open, like The Last of Us 2 was, you could still have this big open environments, but leave a bit behind, and then it would have been way better. Because the big problem with Death Stranding is that you go 5-10 hours with no story. You are literally just wandering. And I know some people that enjoyed that part of it and hate the story, which is cool. It's fine. It's not what I want from a Kojima game.
Yeah, that's it.
You get into a Kojima game because like the people I know that like that sort of stuff, they haven't played Metal Gear. They don't care about Kojima. They don't like Kojima. They just like this game. And they like that mechanic.
I'll tell you what, you can give me 5 to 10 hours of absolutely no story inside of the Silent Hill world, and I'd probably still enjoy myself.
Sure. Yeah, there are definitely games where you can do that. Like GTA is a fun one because you can just do stuff, or like Red Dead Redemption, like we've said about before.
I can't play that damn game. like,
I mean, you can, but you're not
yeah.
playing it to finish it.
One day I will finish that story, but it's just not coming anytime soon. Every time I turn it on, it's either fishing or bear hunting and doing work around the camp.
That's exactly what my housemate's been doing at the moment. He's been playing it. He's not doing any of the missions, but yeah, he's got all the gold guns. He's got a lovely looking horse and everything.
Oh yeah, that's like me. Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've run out of side missions. He's like, well, do a main mission. It might open something up. He's like, he'll just like go and destroy encampments. It's like, oh, I don't know why everyone's after me. It's like, well, funny that, isn't it? But yeah, it's funny.
It's weird.
But yeah, like
I've not.
Death Stranding's done, and I'm finished with it now. I took a shitload of cool photos, even though the photo mode is terrible. The photo mode is not good.
It didn't look particularly clear with some of them that you'd taken.
Some of them aren't. Some of them are really hodgepodge because you can't detach the camera from the main character.
Oh right.
You have to kind of fiddle around, and you can turn the character off, but it's still pinpointing on that. You can't freely fly it around because like. Early on, I had a really cool idea for like there's this massive waterfall, and I'm like, I want to get on top of that and take a cool photo. But you can't detach the camera to get far enough out to take a cool photo. So
That's a bit insane.
shit. But there are some really cool shots in the game. Most of them are of Mads because he is really cool.
Someone's got a
And the
fan
stuff they do
crush.
with him, like there's one. Genuinely, there is one where I've got where he's like holding a fag, and I think it's World War II, and there's like Spitfires going on above him. It looks fucking cool. There's so much. That's my biggest issue with Death Stranding is there's so much I like about it, but you got to fight the game to get to the bits you like. But I've finished it now. I'm gonna start writing up, and hopefully I'll have my review out in like a week or two. It's March, and I'm gonna do my first review, but it's fine.
Nice. Yeah. What was the last review you did? It's
Hades.
Hades, of course, yeah.
I did which did I'm gutted because I love that game. But like no one watched that video.
Well, yes, it is kind of you kind of have to have a Switch. I played it a bit when I could come round to your house.
Dude, it needs to be on PlayStation.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I want to get the platinum in that game.
Mm.
It's so cool. It's such a cool game. I need that on PlayStation. I'd imagine that when it comes, they'll have some kind of extra content. Because when it came to the Switch, it was like the complete version. Because it's been on PC for like 2 years, I think, because they started in early access.
Right.
And they've just been building it from there. But yeah, man, such a cool game. It really needs to come to PlayStation. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon. But yeah, I mean, has anyone been playing anything else, or is that about it?
Other than little sports games that just, there's not really much to talk about there because sports games are
Yeah.
same shit every year, really.
Played some sports ball.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Jake.
Yeah, you know me. I understand sports ball. Mill.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, that's one way to annoy me. Just shout Millwall over the top of anything.
You can say anything.
Should we change this to the Mill podcast?
yeah.
That's what it'd be called. Because this doesn't have a name. I couldn't think of a name for it, so it just is.
Poddy boys.
Podcast.
It's yeah.
I mean,
well, the Pint Time thing, the Pint Time podcast was going to be a different podcast. That was just going to be us chatting shit podcast.
That's going to be us completely bollocksed at 6 p.m.
perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go through.
That would be fun.
I've not been playing, but I've added another game to the Steam wish list because it's the only way I remember that games are coming out at some stage. It looked pretty interesting, but it's called Hood, Outlaws and Legends.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've never heard anything about it, not seen it anywhere, but it looks interesting.
I think it was at the PlayStation show last year when they were announcing the PS5, maybe after that one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the thing that got me is that I think it's a 4-player co-op.
Yeah, that's what it sort of
And
reads as.
Why, of all the things to use Robin Hood for, why would you not have a story game?
Yeah.
Why? And like we've got enough of, those kind of games coming out. Like Outriders is out in a minute, and people aren't enjoying it. Then we've got Back 4 Blood coming out, which looks pretty cool. There's like 1,000 coming out this year, or hopefully this year, if they haven't all been delayed.
I just quite like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, it does look cool. I'm always just disappointed because they're not my kind of game. I want a story.
Yeah.
Like Division was the one that got me. When I first saw the original trailer for the Division, it looked like Last of Us but a shooter.
Yeah,
This looks cool.
It did look very
and
good.
then it went dead quiet for ages, and then it came back as what it was, and I'm like, I just want a cool story in that world. But it's not one I could follow. Like the gunplay and stuff like that's really fun in the Division. I played a fair bit of it, but just didn't click because it didn't have the narrative for me to follow.
Yeah.
Which is always the problem with those kind of games.
But
even like Avengers, like after the main campaign thing, I shut off. I haven't played it since.
So I can play games like this as long as you've got like decent people to play it alongside with. Anything like that's fun. Like obviously the Left 4 Dead games where it all sort of like started. Or Vermintide, Warhammer Vermintide games. Like they're actually a mad amount of fun if you're playing them with your mates. I could
see. I'm so casual online. I would tend to jump on if people are playing like Fall Guys or Overcooked or.
I mean, yeah, they're just.
Among Us is really fun as well. I really like playing Among Us.
Among Us is a great game.
Among Us is so much fun. I am kind of looking forward to Back 4 Blood though. If it is decent,
yeah,
I will probably get it just to play around with people. It won't be something I ever play. Like it's not going to be ever like. I'll be like, oh, I really want to. I feel like having to play on this. It'll be if other people are on. I'll be like, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I want to.
It's never going to be my main.
I want to find a competitive game that I can get back into because, like, I almost got there with Dragon Ball Fighters, and like, for a long time I was really like practicing it. I even bought a controller that's more geared towards fighting games for it, but I just fell off in the end.
Are you thinking fighting games or just anything?
Just anything, because go as far back as Black Ops 2. I was super into that in a competitive way.
That is really bizarre. Sorry, I was just looking. I've got a stack of games in front of me, and almost just before you said Black Ops 2, I was just looking at that game. Yeah, we can channel.
but
what about something like Overwatch? Because there is a new Overwatch coming out soon.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't really like. Yeah, it wasn't quite my aesthetic. I guess.
I don't know the art style with it.
Yeah.
Sure,
I gave it a go for a little while, playing it with like some of my mates, but it just didn't hook me. I almost got hooked when Call of Duty released the World War one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I think
That was good.
it was a good game, but the multiplayer got stale real quick because a lot of the maps felt pretty much
Why
the
don't,
same, and the scale of the maps was also tiny that it was just disinteresting.
Yeah, that's
Why
true.
don't you look into? I forget Tom. What's Warzone? Call of Duty Warzone. That's free to play, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
Why not try that?
it is good fun. It's one of
So
those.
that is meant to be one of the better battle royales.
Oh, definitely. It's original in its own way, but the difficulty scaling is very hard. You have to get good
Sure.
very quickly.
So my main problem with any Call of Duty title is that if you don't get into it the minute it's released, you're already outskilled.
Oh yeah.
As soon as someone else knows the map and knows where they're going, you're just done. You won't get into it. So, the reason I got into Black Ops 2 so heavily was because for whatever reason, I decided to buy it on launch day, didn't play the campaign, went straight online, started playing and learnt the maps. And I think that's the only way I got it. Same thing with the World War one. Got it as soon as it came out, got really into all the maps and that. And I fell off of that one because the DLC started to release and I didn't want to spend money on the DLC.
Sure.
And eventually did, but then realised, I don't know any of the new maps and everyone's outclassing me. Just based on that little fact, like just because someone knows the map better than you, you're already, you've got such an uphill battle.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with all of those kinds of games, though, isn't it? You're going to be waiting for a new one to drop. Maybe wait until that new Warhammer game does come out, because there is a new shooter.
The 40k one that's coming. Yeah. I'm not too interested in 40k. It sort of turns me off instantly.
I don't know what any of it is, to be honest.
40k. But look at it this way: Warhammer is like Little Orcs and Goblins, Lord of the Rings, and 40k is Spacemen.
Oh, okay.
Spaceman sci-fi.
That's a nice way to simplify it.
Yeah.
It's nothing in between.
I was never really interested in Warhammer from the perspective of building the little figures and painting them and that. To be totally honest, I'd say I only got into the IP of Warhammer with Total War, Warhammer 2, because my mate bought it for me. And I got hooked. That is my most played game on Steam. And there's a third one coming soon, so I'm gonna disappear for a good month or so just playing that.
I'll have to find a new co-host for a bit then.
Yeah. I could try and do it.
We'll
see
how this run goes, lads. I mean,
this is it. This is the last one. There's no news.
I didn't realise this was a fucking job interview. Christ.
Well, I mean, while we're on the subject of older games, Tom, what's the first game you can ever remember playing?
I had a couple in mind because when I was younger, we didn't have a PS1 until maybe a good year into its release, probably. But we had an Amiga.
Oh.
Yeah, which is that's some bare bones old kind of shit. But there was a game on it called Super Frog. It's a gorgeous little platformer where you are like a little frog with a cape. A lovely little soundtrack, and it's like a sort of Mario sort of copy, I suppose.
I was gonna say it legit looks like a Mario ripoff.
It
just
looks
bumping on
very
people's
90s.
heads. Oh man, me and my sister had hours of fun on this, and that's one of the earliest I can remember. It was beautiful to play. I think they did actually. They did kind of remaster it or re-release it for something.
It looks like there's one on PS3.
Yeah. But it as far as that nostalgia went, it's like, okay, I played it for a bit. It's like, no, it's not the same. Because you'd have like a janky little joystick back in the day. It's like, it's all just... But yeah, as a kid, you didn't know any better, did you? So that's one of my earliest. And then we have the Sega Mega Drive, and then games like Aladdin, which is just an absolutely amazing game. So
I played that
fun.
on PC at my nan's house, and I adored that game. I can still hear the 8-bit version of the theme tune.
Yeah, and like throwing apples at the fat guys that
Yeah,
went
yeah,
like
yeah.
they always sounded like pigs, like
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
And
used
you're
to love
sure,
that.
you're sure you made that jump, but you land right on the edge of the hot coals, and that's it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that sounds
But
like new Crash.
again,
Yeah.
it's just those little platformers back in the day that, you know, they're all sort of skin copies or clones, but Aladdin did it differently.
I mean, it feels like that's where you get some of your affinity for. I mean, like you've been playing Hollow Knight recently. Like, do you get some nostalgia from that because of the games you've played when you were younger? Do you think?
Possibly.
'Cause I certainly do. I love playing older games,
I think
playing modern older games like that sort of style.
in terms of like attention span, I think it's like sometimes you just want something that's quite quick and achievable, like only a few buttons, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, possibly. Because even like back on the Sega Mega Drive, we had the Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck games,
Sure.
or one of them. I think it's like Castle of Illusion, and that was a good little multiplayer one that me and my sister would play, like side by side, couch co-op. She'd always be Mickey, I'd always be Donald, and you just like, you know, you help each other through stages, and you know, it's just a simpler time, I suppose, for gaming.
Oh,
So you was the Rem boy. Always playing Donald.
Yeah. Well, someone's fucking got it.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's true.
well, what about you, Jake? What was it?
I mean-
because I think you've mentioned before that you came back with PC, but were you into gaming before that? Was there much?
Like as far as like first games ever played goes, and I won't go on about it for too long because we did this in the first official episode anyway. Zelda Ocarina of Time is the first game I have any living memory of playing.
Very nice.
Not exactly setting the bar high at all.
Yeah. You started
Only
off with
one of the
absolute
best
shit there.
Yeah.
We want to start off with Super Frog, mate, alright?
yeah, exactly. No, but what I was going to mention actually, like a game that always sort of like sticks in my mind, or a couple of games that always stick in my mind that come along with that like side scroller mentality. Streets of Rage, obviously was
Big time.
yeah, just amazing games.
Did you play Streets of Rage 4?
I haven't, no.
Brother, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
should do.
on the
It's
Switch.
great.
Really should do.
I played it on PC
Alright.
because it was on Game
Oh,
Pass.
is it?
And,
Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I know what I'm
it
doing.
was. I don't know if it still
The
is.
Resident Evil
but-
runs over.
Man,
It's
it's a great. Ideally, play it co-op. I think I was actually you that told me that, Tom. I think you were the one that was like, "Oh yeah, you should check it out, but play it co-op."
yeah.
Yeah, that's what me
So
and
I
my
played
mate
it on my
did.
own first, and then me and my brother played it. And oh man,
But apparently
So
there's a
good.
bit within it where you go into an arcade and you can actually just go in front of the arcade machine and play the original Streets of Rage 2.
I love
I'm
that
like,
sort of
oh, that's
stuff.
really cool.
Oh,
I always
no.
appreciate games like that
The
where
Warriors.
you can.
Did you play the Warriors on PS2?
Oh, I
See,
no, I
you
did.
could
I never
This is
did.
one of the ones you
Den.
keep telling me to play, but I never.
I'm
got to it.
gonna lend you it. You can go into
You've said
your
that
den.
100 times.
Yeah. You go into your little den and there's like a little arcade machine and you can go and
Yeah.
play on that. And I would play that game within the game for hours and
Yeah.
hours.
It is weird, isn't it? Where you can get hooked on a game within a game.
Yeah. Obviously, San Andreas was a good example of that as well.
Yes.
Games.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say I always appreciate when like Streets of Rage, for instance, when the newer one comes out, but then you can. I think Dragon Ball Fighters did this as well, only on PC though. You can change the graphics to make it look like the older games, and you can have the older theme tunes, all the 8-bit stuff. I adore that stuff because I love 8-bit music and stuff like that. It's really such a cool. Like Metal Gear did it for Metal Gear 5. You can play around as it might have been Ground Zeroes actually. But you could play around as the pixelated PS1 Snake as well.
I think you could in
I love
5,
stuff
but
like
I think it was for the FOB missions, the sort of multiplayer element to it,
Sure.
which was something to be desired.
Yeah.
But Metal Slug, mate, I don't know if you guys played Metal Slug, but I used to spend hours and hours and hours playing that game. Like the first couple of them, I'd just get lost in it. Because it was so hard.
I mean,
it was so hard. It starts off perfectly fine and fairly simple, and the next thing you know, you're like just stuck at the same point over and over and over again. Like with a lot of these sorts of games. I think.
I mean, again, that kind of links into your big Souls guy, and that is very similar.
Yeah.
You will get stuck in the same place doing the same thing over and over again until you break your head through a wall.
Well, I almost gave up on Dark Souls at the very beginning. When the game first launched, I bought it just on a whim. I was like, oh yeah, man, I love swords and shields. I'll get this. And I got past the like little tutorial bit, got past the first demon, into Firelink Shrine. And the first thing I decided to do, because at this stage of the game, everything other than Oscar that I've come across has attacked me instantly. And he was a dying man. And there's some dude just sat up on some rock. And he's looking chilling, real shiny. Yeah, I'm like, he's got some fucking armor on. And
yeah, fucking want it, mate? You want it?
No, this is literally the mentality I went in with. Yeah. Started slashing my sword at him. Naturally, because I'm such low level, he kills me instantly. And then every time I respawn at the bonfire,
no, he's really mad.
Die again. Die again. And instead of just restarting the game and not attacking him, because for some reason it didn't click in my head that it was my fault that he was attacking me. I thought it was a part of the game. I just turned it off. I wasn't that into gaming at that point. Like, I'd sort of fallen off by that point. But man, am I glad my mate convinced me to get the game again. And then we went through, played it together. And, he essentially let me make all of the decisions. And he, more than anything, I think he actually just followed me around. Like, he left me to play the game, but he was like following me to watch how I was progressing through it.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I was really glad he like convinced me to get it again and actually play through it.
Nice.
I mean,
see, certainly with FromSoft games, like both of my housemates, like as much as I do, I've never wanted that sort of outside help. As much as I would enjoy playing the game with another person, just like going around that world, it's like, no, I want to do every boss by myself. There's like a couple in like Bloodborne that I needed help for. But for the most part, for all of my playthroughs of them, I've tried to do it by myself.
Yeah.
Because there's that sort of that sense of pride within yourself, and you're like, no, you've killed me so many times. I've got to do it myself. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
stubborn.
There's something to be said about playing those games multiplayer as well, though, because like as I say, we spent a good couple 100 hours on the first game because we went back through, played New Game Plus on it, and then I think we then tried to do it again, but set a challenge for ourselves where we had to kill Andre, so we couldn't upgrade anything or we couldn't change anything, and that wound up being a big mistake and actually just killed the whole run in the end. But I managed to kill my one, but my mate couldn't kill his Andre, and then that was it. Ended the run. I think it was supposed to be a no deaths as well. Because bearing in mind, this was New Game plus 3 at this point, so we're pretty high level. So yeah, I think that just killed that. But we then went through all the Dark Souls 2 together as well. And the entire time, there was just this massive smack talk between us about who was going to like win when we eventually duel each other. Because, we was like, when we complete this game, we're going to, 1v1. And, I was like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Absolute nonsense. Actually... So we got to the end. And honestly, I don't even think I would make this up. Why would you make it up? We had our little fight. And we literally drew. We killed each other at the same time.
Of course. You're destined to do it forever.
Ridiculous. We never fought again.
The best honour.
I was going to say, that's actually a pretty cool idea for a co-op game. Where like you both individually are going through whatever the fuck the story is or whatever bosses you got to get through. And the end point is you're both on opposite sides, you're fighting each other.
Yeah.
You're both the end boss for each other, sort of.
The only problem with multiplayer games running like that is they wind up being a bit like I don't know if you ever played Army of Two or any of those sorts of games. So Army of Two, I mean, they're fun multiplayer games. Or Resident Evil 5 also sort of falls into this because there's two of you. The entire thing just becomes super simplistic and
Shiver, give me an herb.
Yeah, and then if you want to try and play those sorts of games single player afterwards, it just doesn't work.
I mean, in my head, you actually wouldn't interact until that final fight.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I see.
You would just, like, if whoever on the other side you're playing with killed like this big old monster, you'd hear like some offhand mad story about this incredible giant thing that he slayed, and then you don't actually come face to face until like your legends are properly built up, and then it's that epic fight at the end.
Well, yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
That runs like some of the bosses in Dark Souls 3. I don't know how far you guys ever got through that game.
Haven't played it.
Just past the Abyss Watchers, I think.
Okay, well, I'm going to close my mouth then.
Yeah, because that's one that I want to go back to.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I tend to flit about between them, which I'm sure some FromSoft guys will be like, no, do 1, then do 2, then do 3.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that because I
just
got,
keeps it fresher
the Demon
for
Souls
you.
remake. I kind of want to do it from there. I want to do the remake, go back, because I've played Dark Souls, I played obviously Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro, and I'm really looking forward to whatever the fuck Elden Ring's gonna be.
Yeah, well,
I want to go through and actually play those. Like, there's not even a specific order to them other than like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, but I want to do it like Demon Souls and then go through like chronologically as they were released. Sort of thing.
Demon Souls is such an amazing game. I haven't played the remaster, but like the original game, so few people knew about its existence. Like,
yeah.
It was just super weird, and I only knew about it because a friend of mine played it. So, and it's weird as well because when Dark Souls 1 came out, I never made the connection between the two games. Didn't even realise they were made by the same publisher, and yeah, no, it's just a bit weird. But Sekiro, yeah, I need to pick that back up and finally get past Genichi Boy.
Genichi.
Yeah, Genichi, but I need to start the game again because I feel like I'm so out of touch with the controls.
Oh yeah, I think like it's Madame Butterfly, but it's almost like the unofficial tutorial boss in terms of right. This is how you parry, swipe, swipe, swipe. It's just I love the way that they designed it.
Yeah,
because all the like initial bosses for the other FromSoft games are like
you just got to brute them.
Yeah. But because it was a different battle style in Sekiro. I love the way that they did that with Madame Butterfly. Because once you hit it and once you get it down, you're like, that's easy. Yeah,
not even easy.
But when you first play it, you're like, this bitch is a nightmare. Like,
I mean, Tom can attest to how many weeks I was stuck on Madame Butterfly.
Yeah,
I'd pick him up first thing in the morning for work, and I'd beat. Have you beat Madame Butterfly yet? Fucking no.
Yeah, stop asking.
I got stuck on her a few times. I think it took me like 5 attempts to get through her.
Brother, it took me like 100.
It really hurt my Dark Souls pride. Like I was like,
I
should be able to do it.
I think that's the clever thing about it, though. If you go in trying to play it as a Dark Souls game, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so different. Yeah.
It almost benefits you playing Bloodborne more.
Probably.
Because it is a bit quicker and a bit pacier sort of thing.
I couldn't get into Bloodborne.
Yeah, certainly in terms of like the dodge mechanic and that kind of thing, it's,
But I mean, so far, like, Demon Souls is the one I've clicked with the most. Like, I love the world of Bloodborne. I really like Sekiro. But, Demon Souls, I've, like, just clicked with straight away. The parrying I've got, the countering I've got, like, it all just clicked immediately sort of thing. So that's why I want to take it from Demon Souls and go on. Because this one's clicked, essentially. And now this one's clicked. I'm like, okay, cool. This is working now. Let's keep going with it.
That's the thing, isn't it? There's always one game that gets you into it, and like, now I've got that bug.
Because it's always been like a big old stumbling block. Like Tom can tell you from Bloodborne, I ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I'm so underleveled. I'm in some like castle thing. And I shouldn't be there for like another 20 hours.
Oh, that's what I did with Sekiro as well, actually. Went in the wrong direction to begin with and just wound up in like a massively over-leveled area.
The which one was it? I think it was actually the original Dark Souls. I think I did that. I went, after the tutorial, I went like the wrong way and started trying to fight these skeletons that were way above what
that's like down the cat. That's the catacombs rather than.
We say all this about
instead of going.
We say all this about being underleveled, but like people play those games running around completely naked as a level 1. So
Have you
That's
seen the
the
fuckers that like beat it on a dance mat? Like
That
that's
hurt my pride more.
that's just-
Come on, man.
Yeah.
right.
I've seen a playthrough with like they've mapped the controls to an electric guitar. Like,
Oh, sick.
are you mad?
Oh, I've
Are you
seen them
dizzy?
do like the Guitar Hero one.
No, but it's literally an electric guitar. So it's like bomb, bomb. Okay, so that's left. Bing. That's attack.
Well, there is a next level to this. There is a next level because I don't know if it's real or if it's just some joke online. But PlayStation have apparently put a patent out for being able to play the PS5 with a banana,
Oh, fuck off. No chance.
like an actual banana. And I'm like,
Ow.
I haven't looked into it, so I'm not sure if it's real or if it's
Pressure
joke.
points.
But if someone beats Dark Souls on a fucking banana,
Yeah, right.
I think I might just quit. Just
I will game no
Sometimes
more.
I struggle to open a banana. So, I mean, like, how can it do that?
When they're
Open
just
from the bottom, bro.
underripe and you just can't quite split the head off. Like,
Yeah, or I take the first bit, I take the top off, and then, oh, well, none of the skin came down, so fuck that banana, I'm not going to eat it. You win this one.
you keep your secrets.
Yeah.
I mean, so I asked this to Jake a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't really get a great answer because it was really off the top of our heads, and we couldn't. I don't think either of us really came up with one. But talking about like games we played in childhood, is there any game that you would love to be properly like Resident Evil 2 remade and brought properly into modern day?
Ooh,
So you can just replay it in all its glory now.
that is a good...
So I can't even remember what we said, Jake.
Oh, I
think
said
we-
Ocarina
like, I
of
think we
Time in the
talked
end.
about-
Proper cop-out
Oh
answer.
yeah.
My
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, if you could do like
That
an
would be dope.
Ocarina in a Breath of the Wild sense, that would be fucking sick. I don't know, it's a hard one. Because...
I always go back to. I mean, there's a lot of rumors that Metal Gear Solid is getting
Yeah, see
a
that...
proper remake.
That would be one. Twin
That-
Snakes.
I would
I
do
absolutely loved Twin Snakes for
Yeah.
the Cube when it came out.
I've asked this to a couple of people. Would you stick with the top-down style that it had, or would you go third person?
I'd love to go third
Yeah,
person with,
so would I.
with it. Yeah.
I go
I'd
Resi
like
5
to be able to
engine.
swap
Not
between the
Resi
two.
5, Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I genuinely think after Resident, I did say Metal Gear Solid 5, that Kojima was going to remake Metal Gear 1 and 2, and that's where the two big bosses would actually come in. And like those are two I would love to be remade because they're like, people don't think of Metal Gear, they think Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, a lot of people are like, well, where's the big boss versus Snake fight? It's like, we had it
Yeah.
twice in the
Yeah.
original
They were
two
good
games.
games
Yeah,
as
sure.
well,
And
actually.
it's not
I really enjoyed
like
them.
having those in a Metal Gear Solid 5 style would be
Yeah,
dope.
that would
Like,
be sick.
I would
Silent-
prefer that over Metal Gear Solid.
Silent Hill 1 in that sort of vibe could be really creepy. Like, that would be amazing.
I think actually that's one that Jake
Yeah.
brought up because I remember saying that they did actually remake 2 and 3 and they got rid of the fog and everyone was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Everything
is the
that
point.
makes Silent
Yeah.
Hill Silent Hill. I have just thought of one that probably isn't realistically old enough to have the treatment, but also I would love to just see it like revived. And we was talking about it last week, Dead Space. Like, because I actually did load it up, and man,
Yeah.
it looks especially for a space aged game, it looks really rusty. Like the graphics to it are old. It's old. It is a fairly old game. I'd love to see that in a newer engine, especially with like the new lighting capabilities.
Oh,
Mind
God,
lighting
yeah.
was one of the things Dead Space did really well in the first place, but
I think I'd like something like because in terms for it to be like a pure remaster or an overhaul or whatever, like something like Tenchu for the PlayStation 1.
yeah.
I fucking love
that's
that.
what
love
Sekiro
that
was
game.
meant to be.
Oh,
That's
really?
what Sekiro was going to be. Sekiro was going to be a Tenchu game, and then they pivoted it. Apparently, I don't know
Yeah.
for sure because I don't.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you know
work
what I'd
inside
love to
there.
see a remake of? Skyrim.
What's that?
We're in need of a new Skyrim.
What? And make it good.
No, it'd have to be like episode 4 or something like Is it Morrowind?
Oh, that was number 3.
I think To be fair, I think if they're going to make anyone, Oblivion is the one that needs
Yeah,
to be.
Oblivion was full,
It was
wasn't
just
it?
a
Yeah,
bad
sorry.
game. Oblivion
Yes.
just wasn't fun.
I
Yeah, but it would be if you slapped some Skyrim treatment on it, you know?
I couldn't get into Skyrim, but I think it's one I'm going to have to at some point because
I mean, I definitely did.
it's just a video.
Even
game
Rach
waiting
got
to be
really
made.
into Skyrim.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I'm just looking through
I
my
mean, what-
playlist to see if there's any other games that like I really think could do with.
So Jordan on the Game for All podcast works for Ubisoft, and I'm trying to get him to get it done, but I really want the original Splinter Cell. To
Oh,
be
mate,
made,
yeah.
Yeah,
because that'd
fair.
be dope.
Yeah.
Need me a flat jacket.
It's never going to happen because they don't know what they're doing with Splinter Cell over there, and it hurts me every time he pops up in something else. I'm like, no, just remake the first game. That's all I want.
Do what? I totally
Because
realised.
the way they use the way they use lighting in that, and the way like the whole advertising around it was really cool because it was if you can hear yourself, the enemy can hear you. It was
Right, yeah.
So well done. It was incredible. I played it again not too long ago, and polish it up and re-release it, and it would be incredible today.
See, I always enjoyed it, but I played it on the Xbox, so you know my feelings toward the Xbox. But
Superior
just the
controller.
the controls were really too hard for me.
Right.
But so I didn't really get much further than like the first bit. But yeah, I love the idea. Like, it's just fantastic.
So you said Splinter Cell, but I heard Siphon Filter.
Oh, that
Siphon
Siphon
Filter,
Filter.
love.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah, I
hell.
would love Siphon Filter.
Yeah.
There was a
Tasing people
in-
on fire in next gen
Dude,
would just be amazing. Probably
so
not
that
allowed, but you know.
that taser is in Days Gone because it's the same developer.
Oh,
And they
right.
put that taser in Days Gone. And I was like, oh man, I
Perfect.
would kill for another one.
The amount of times I played that demo, I had a demo
Same.
of it, but never had the game.
Oh, I had the
I was
game.
like, oh, this is just fucking
I-
great.
I own the game now. I picked it up from like a retro store.
Very nice.
Nice. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. I was definitely a part of the Game Station trade and get new games
yeah.
generation of gaming.
Yeah.
So I don't have like a massive collection of games. Like,
I've slowly been building mine up because we had PS2 and it died and we didn't have enough money to buy a new console, so I went like a year or two without games,
Right.
and that fucking sucked. And that was like all the collection just gone because my mum's like, oh well, you don't play these anymore. I was like, play 'em on.
Oh, you made your mum sound like a monster. It's like, no, mum, no. No, they're going.
I mean,
dear.
she did throw away my games, so
What, not even sold
I've
them,
I've
threw them
slowly
away.
building up. Yeah, it was legit
Oh
throwing them away.
no.
It wasn't even legit like taking them to a game store and getting money for them. It was just thrown away.
If my mum went to throw any of my shit away, we'd be having words. I mean, like, you know.
Oh, dude, it's happened so many. Like, I left my Wii Fit board when I left out home, and I forgot about it. And I was like, "Hey, I left my Wii Fit board here." He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I threw it away." I'm like, "Why?
Yeah.
I'm not going to use it. I just want it for my collection." But
Yeah,
Why?
I've still got like Action Men and old wrestling figures, and it's like, no, don't
cool.
don't throw them out. I'm like, and she's like, what? You ever going to use them? I was like, she's like, Tom, you're almost 30. It's like, yeah, what's that got to do with it?
Yeah, what if you
don't
want to get into
know. I
stop
don't know.
motion one day? You know, those things are perfect for that.
Exactly.
They are. They are.
Yeah, and I got them from
And if you're
I got them
bored,
from a
like,
car
just
boot,
play
so they're probably worth like £100 by now each one.
Oh man, nice.
The amount of gems you
I-
can pick up.
Yeah, there's so much old stuff I wish I didn't get rid of. Mostly consoles, to be fair. It's mostly consoles.
Yeah.
Well, I still got my classic N64, but it's one of those slightly see-through ones, the ones that were worth like a
Yeah.
little bit
Oh
more.
yeah, and I hated the look of those.
Oh, I loved it, man. I got
I've
the
got-
orange one.
I've got
it looks
two.
sick, and you're wrong.
I've got two. I've got the regular like grey one, and I've got a see-through blue one because my brother bought one
Yeah.
as well to play older games on it, and he didn't think he had a power cord because him being 4 years younger than me, he didn't recognize what the power, like it was a power block. It wasn't
Yeah.
a cord. he didn't recognize it. It's just sat there. He's like, well, I mean, you can have it. I know you like collecting stuff. I haven't got a power cord for it. And he's giving me all the stuff. He's like, oh, it came with this wire. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Couldn't you put the old...
And it came with the expansion pack in it as well. I'm like, dude, you have a fucking gem of a thing here.
Very nice.
Yeah, I got the expansion pack as well. But again, that's the same expansion pack. I remember getting it I needed it for Majora's Mask. And I remember just like my mum got me Majora's Mask, and then I was just, I can't play it. We need to find this thing. We've got to find this thing.
That is the only reason I don't have Majora's Mask, because there was a classic game shop that where I got the N64, and it had, I think it was Mario 64 box. I was like, yep, and it had Majora's Mask next to it. I'm like, I really want it,
but can't play it.
But he didn't have the expansion pack.
We found it.
I remember it had a really sexy gold cartridge.
Yeah.
But it was a nightmare to play. Like I could play Ocarina when I was a kid. When I was trying to play Majora's Mask, I was like, no, none of this makes sense. Like, this is way harder.
I don't understand how as a kid you were supposed to get that. Like, I got fairly far through the game, but I did get stuck, and it was only probably like 5 or 6 years ago that I actually, it's probably longer than that now. I forget, I'm 28 now, aren't I? It was later on in life I actually put the cartridge back in, reloaded up my save file, and then just was looking around and was like, oh yeah, no, it's so simple, this is what I do. But how would I have known that as a kid? Because
it's all the concept of time and everything, like, and just that was the thing, like having that restriction and trying to play that as a kid, like, never translated. So it's like it looks lovely.
There, it's like, why did I die?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a mass that turns me into a little scrub. Okay, what do I do with that?
I mean, it is the 35th anniversary of Zelda this year, so hopefully there is some kind of either collection or a remaster or remake of, even if it was just the two of those, if it was Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, because they play into each other. That would be awesome. But Nintendo's gonna do a Nintendo, and it'll probably be only available for like 2 weeks, like they did with the
right, sure, yeah.
Nintendo's got a lot of anniversaries this year, hasn't it?
They do. They've got Metroid. They've got Pokemon. They've got. I mean, I say they've got Pokemon. They don't own Pokemon, but Pokemon's got an anniversary this year. There is a bunch of others as well that I'm forgetting, but there's a lot, and we're probably going to see nothing.
Yeah.
But because I mean, Metroid, the new Metroid game they're working on, it sounds like it's a bit of a mess. They had to completely restart it maybe a year or two ago. Zelda, we don't know. I think they're keeping the new Zelda for whenever they're going to release the new Switch.
Yeah.
Switch Pro or Super Switch or whatever.
Super Switch.
It could be.
I hope it's called Super Switch. I'm the only person I know that has like coined that.
Super Switch Tendo.
I wouldn't be too funny if too funny. It would.
Don't put yourself down, mate.
Oh man, my words just left me. Move on. It's done.
What were you?
I don't even remember now. That's the problem. Like, it's just gone. I can't even remember what we were talking about a second ago there. So.
Man. I mean, the earliest games I can remember, and I don't know what order they came in, but they're 3 very, very different games. Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
So I remember talking about it in school because it really threw me because it came with multiple discs. And I didn't understand that at the time. So I was like, I went in school and I remember I was like, oh yeah, I got Metal Gear Solid 2. There is no such thing. And I'm like, yeah, there fucking is.
I've got 2 discs.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
There is. What's the second disc? No one told me what it was. It wasn't until years later I was like, oh right, when I actually like.
So what? You just did Psycho Mantis on the first disc and then was like, well, that's the end of that game then.
No. I didn't get that far when I was younger. I've got no clue how. I remember doing the opening section loads. Beyond that, I don't remember how far I got until I actually like fully played.
I certainly got stuck on the first section for a very long time as a child.
Hi, D. Colonel,
I think
what's a Russian gunship doing?
Like, no shit, man. I've heard this before.
Yeah. I genuinely think the furthest I got was the first Revolver Ocelot.
That was hard,
which is so
man.
great.
It was.
Oh yeah,
It was.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
why is his
Because
bullets
the amount of
bouncing?
times with that top-down view and you'd be running around, it was
Yeah.
the tiniest little thing to go into the bomb wires to kill the
Yeah,
president.
yeah. You
Like
cut a corner.
yeah, such a good little fight.
You just spend so long just running around before you figure out. Wait, hold on. If I run the other way, he's gonna run.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that, and that's still one of my favorite games
Nice.
ever. It's incredible. Croc,
Croc,
Legend of the Gobbos.
lovely.
I have that. I picked it up again. It's
I think
one of
I've
the
still
only
got.
games.
I think I've still
I
got
don't
my
have a
PS1
case.
I
copy
don't
of
think I
that.
ever played
Oh
Croc.
no way, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'd love for that to get remade. It's not a good game by any stretch.
And
But
a
I'd love for it. Yeah.
Kapow!
Yeah. I remember playing
Like
that
Banjo and Kazooie.
game. You got what was
Is
that
it
game?
like Banjo and Kazooie? It looks a bit like it.
Yeah, it's like
Actually,
a really bad,
yeah, kind of is. Yeah.
it is a really bad version of that. And Rayman, the original Rayman, I remember playing.
Very nice.
I've got no clue which one came first because they all came out like mid to late 90s. But I obviously don't know when I played them because I was born in 94, so I've got no clue which order I actually played them in.
Yeah, I think Rayman might have been one of the first games I had on PlayStation.
I think Rayman was the first game I played. I think
I've
that was
never played a Rayman game.
Oh, brother. Oh, especially like Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins. I think it's
Origins,
called.
yeah.
They're both great. They're both incredible.
There's a lot of really bad ones within the franchise where I think it didn't really translate to PS2.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I think we discussed it last week. That's where the Rabbids came from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
But
rings a
saying
bell.
that, Mario versus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is a lot of fun. So at least something good came out of the Rabbids.
Bizarre.
But again, Ubisoft, make another Rayman. Why is there not another Rayman game?
Why is Ubisoft
Rayman's
gonna
so
make
good.
another Rayman? Because all they're focused
'Cause they're
on
the one
these
that-
days is Assassin's Creed, really, isn't it? Like, what else is Ubisoft doing now?
Well, they did Watch Dogs,
Yeah.
but they killed it.
Yeah, I had no interest in the Watch Dogs series from.
Oh,
No, I mean
Watch
neither.
Dogs 2 is great. I adore Watch Dogs 2.
I didn't realise that they had done Siege. Because that was a
Yeah.
weird game, wasn't it? It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
very popular when it first came out, but then over the past few years, it's become massive in multiplayer.
Yeah, it's incredible now. But like, I loved playing that a few years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. But I tried playing it again recently. And I was trying to show my brother it, and we were just going to jump onto like a terrorist hunt sort of mode. I couldn't figure out how to find
You
it.
know what? I take back
Like,
what I
it's
said.
so bad for a new
I'm
player.
just looking at Ubisoft releases and upcoming releases, and they do a lot more than just Assassin's Creed these days.
Oh yeah. They got Far Cry coming up. I think is their next game.
Yeah.
Or next big game, which I'm quite looking forward to because that's got Gustav the Fring as the main villain.
Very
That
nice.
Immortals
great.
Phoenix Rising as well is them, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that.
curious,
If it goes
I think,
on
is the
sale on,
word.
like Game Pass, because there's been a bunch of Breath of the Wild clones that's come out recently, and it's meant to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty interested in, and it's from what I've heard, it sounds a bit more like Breath of the Wild, but in like the Fable kind of tone, because it's got silly sense of humor and
Oh, that's cool.
stuff like that. I don't know if that is actually
Yeah.
what it is, but that's what it sounds like to me.
I think Ubisoft really
No,
peaked.
Ubisoft's got a pretty wide scope of games.
Yeah, I think they peaked on Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
I think that's quite a big consensus.
Black Flag was great.
Apart from the new generation of the last couple of games, like
I've heard a lot of bad stuff. Like, okay, it's hard to make a really big open world RPG sort of game, but it's always like followed by negative things. It's like the negative always sounds like it outweighs what's good about the new Assassin's Creed games.
yeah, it does.
Yeah. I mean, the Valhalla is meant to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard anything negative about Valhalla. And generally, the negativity comes from it's out too soon.
Yeah.
And it's buggy and it's fucked. Because that was the problem with stuff like
Oh, is that
Syndicate.
why it's not
Even though
on
apparently
Steam?
Syndicate is great.
That would make sense.
Like, past the bugs and stuff like that, apparently Syndicate is very good.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really is. It's really good fun.
Sure.
You're knocking around London, and that's just quite nice, seeing all the old sort of, just the world as it was. But that sort of the brother-sister relationship between the two characters was really quite interesting, because you could play as each one. You got like Alexander Graham Bell just like knocking around, but he's like making weapons for you. It's like quite a nice little shift on history. Like,
yeah, I always like the stuff like that. Like in like the Ezio trilogy, where you had Da Vinci helping you making
yeah.
like,
it's like despite all the great things they've done, it's like, oh yeah, we've made this weapon, we've made a grappling hook. Like, it's quite funny. Like,
yeah, I always like that sort of stuff. Apparently, there is a lot of people who are like, the fan base is kind of split down the middle, 50-50. They either love the new way, the new like witchery sort of way it's going, or you've got the complete opposite of that are like, no, go back to the what Assassin's Creed was, the stupid tiny stuff.
Yeah,
because I think the new stuff that they're doing is like, it's pretty cool. I do quite like which one did I play? It wasn't Origins, it was one after that.
Odyssey?
Yes, Odyssey.
Yeah.
And I quite like just the way they handled that, but it should have been called something else. Like, if they had a different name for it and show it off on its own thing, because it sounds like they were quite scared to do so, because Assassin's Creed is such a big franchise. But Assassin's Creed came from Prince of Persia. They did exactly that. They were making a Prince of Persia game and then span it off into Assassin's Creed.
It happens quite a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
Where developers sort of...
What game? Resident Evil 4 was Devil May Cry was originally Resident Evil 4, for instance.
They were making a Jak and Daxter game, and then Last of Us was the result. Yeah. Like, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Excuse me.
Yeah. After Uncharted 2?
Yeah, it would have been,
Uncharted 2? They were going to work on a new Jak and Daxter game. They were even just floating around the idea of just doing like a remake, I think. And then Neil Druckmann was like, nah, let's do this.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like they created a load of assets and a storyline. It just, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was completely different. Did you ever hear the original pitch for The Last of Us?
No.
So pretty much the same, except it was only women that was affected.
Right.
Someone pops up and is like, this is a cool idea.
Right.
But why?
Yeah.
Why not just everybody? And then we eventually got what we got, which was outstanding.
Cool, that's a fucking relief.
Yeah.
That would have been very difficult just to actually sit through.
It would not have aged.
That would have been
at all.
God, no.
No. I mean, as cool as a story they could have possibly told, it would still have had that tinge. Like, well, why is it only women? So I'd be curious if it was flipped the other way, and if it was only men that were affected and you played as a female character, how much different the perspective on that would be.
Yeah, if you were the badass woman in it.
Yeah.
At the start, can't remember her name now.
Oh yeah, she was sick. I should know because she only recently died.
I was going to say Chloe, but that's Uncharted. Tess.
That's it. Yeah, she was a badass.
Yeah, she was. She was originally meant to be the villain of Last of Us.
Well, the one that sort of double crosses you.
She was the bad guy, but then they ditched having a straight up bad guy.
Because you get double crossed, don't you?
Tess, the one that dies at the beginning.
Yeah, but you get double crossed eventually, don't you?
Yeah, you get double crossed by a guy that she's helping you find.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It's almost like protecting the fireflies or something like that.
How far in are you, Jake?
Not very.
We'll shut up then.
How far have you got, Jake? Not very.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a bit.
I've done a bit.
Opening credits.
The test
Where
stuff
actually am I? I mean, it was December when we last actually put it on to play, so. And that was because I was getting annoyed with the AI. Like, I'm trying to sneak through, and they're like running around and yelling, and I'm like, dude, there's a clicker right next to me. Calm your tits. We need to be chill.
Yeah. But having the patience within that game, like sometimes it is a bit janky and a bit like But yeah, persist with that because I couldn't put that game down. Like
Same.
It's.
I properly binged. So I binged The Last of Us, Left Behind DLC, which you probably got because you got it on PS4, Jay.
Yeah. Got the.
And
that was Ellie and the.
Yeah, Ellie and I can't remember her name.
No, me neither.
And there's a comic book which is set before when Ellie first joins the Fireflies,
right.
and it's like her early days with whatever that character's called. Oh man, it's
Gregory.
It's there, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's the Lady Gregory.
Yeah. Yeah, Gregory is exactly who it is. I'm actually gonna Google it because.
No, it's Gregory. Don't worry.
Just come on, man.
Okay,
it's superior gaming knowledge.
That's fine.
Of a game I've not completed.
It's been a while. It's been almost a year.
Sure, I don't know what it.
So that should still be.
Yeah, I don't know what it's been with me lately. Like I've really struggled to play a lot of games. Where it's like I'll be like, oh yeah, I really want to play that. I'll switch it on and then like play a little bit and turn it straight back off. I suppose it's kind of hard to find motivation to do a lot at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is weird when it's something that you should be able to just like sit back and just chill and just do to kill time, like. But I really enjoy playing Resident Evil 0 earlier, so getting back.
Wow, that's an amazing loop round. That's an hour and 20-minute loop round. That's very good.
Full circle. And I mean, we'll start tailing it off. So going back again, just to our history in old games. What is there like a series you'd love to see come back that isn't a thing? Not even necessarily
Silent Hill,
just random.
Yeah, see, obviously I would have Final Fantasy.
No, because Final Fantasy's still around.
The new one.
Yeah, but cool. I mean, like in terms
of
like the remake of like, because I started on 7 when I was a kid on PS1, and like seeing that come around, I'd love them to do 8 then 9 in a similar way. Obviously, there's going to be multiple parts to this one.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going proper Kingdom Hearts with Final Fantasy 7 remake, so it may never end.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It may just
nonsense.
Go forever.
I really want 8. I need 8. That was my first Final Fantasy game, and I need that. Give it to me.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy's just going Kingdom Hearts now. I mean, we do. There is 16.
Yeah, it does. It looks sick.
Which looks like it's going a bit more medieval and a bit more of its.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah. As long as I mean, 15 was a bit of a black mark. Let's say.
Be desired.
Yeah, but then you could have said that about 12 when it was released.
To be desired.
It's fantastic. Like,
I've still got all this.
It is a good game.
Like all of them. Not too long ago.
Steam doesn't start at the beginning though, does it? I think because I've got them all on Steam. I think it starts on.
No, it doesn't.
Final Fantasy 3.
But I think I might have it on. I've got one of those. Like the NES minis.
Oh yeah.
I think it might be on there.
Yeah, I mean you could always just
I'm not sure.
just play it on your computer anyway.
Yeah,
without committing illicit activities.
I mean, you tried to get me to I can't remember what game it was. There was one last week. You were like, "Oh, just download it." I'm like,
yeah.
Just have it. Just do it. Just don't even think about it.
Yeah, live a little, bro. Live a little.
It's like a drug. Once you get started, just illegally downloading games, like it's not going to stop.
Got too much to play as is.
How about you, Luke? In terms of like something that would get revitalized.
I would honestly like to see Metal Gear made by someone else. Also, I can't remember. I was listening to another podcast and someone suggested Remedy make Metal Gear game, I think that would be awesome. Because I really love Control. Max Payne, great. Max Payne 3 wasn't them, but I really enjoyed Max Payne 3.
Yeah, I couldn't get on with Max Payne 3, but 1 and 2.
I couldn't get on with 3 either, actually. But yeah, same opinion. 1 and 2, amazing.
Yeah. Didn't have that sort of noir comic feel to it. Like, it's very, very cleverly done.
Yeah.
And scary, that whole dead baby scene and all that.
Sure. or just that bit. I think you're just in a completely black environment and you're just following a trail of blood.
Yeah, it's like a dream world sequence bit.
It's such a shame that they gave up not Alan Wake. They've got Alan Wake. Max Payne. Because I feel like, especially in the world they're trying to build at the minute with all the, the supernatural stuff, I really think they could have used Max Payne in an interesting way in that.
Did you just say they're still making Alan Wake games?
They've just got the license back, yeah.
Interesting.
So what? The second DLC for Control is Alan Wake centric.
I haven't played Control yet. I've got it. I've been meaning to play it.
Oh, dude, Control is.
Yeah, I've only ever heard good things. Control.
There, especially late on, there's a thing called the Ashtray Maze. Dude, it's so fucking cool. It's an absolute spectacle. It's incredible.
See, I always forget.
Like, if it wasn't for Resident Evil 2 Remake coming out, Control would have been my game of the year that year.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Control's
high praise.
Control is awesome.
Like I say, I've only ever heard good things, really but I forgot.
It's probably pretty steep, pretty cheap on the store right now, I'd imagine.
I think it's on offer, but
probably, yeah. Because I picked it up I had it on PS4, but then it's a bit jank on PS4, so I got it on my PC. And you can have like full ray tracing mode, but it doesn't work too well. So I kind of gave up for a bit. But it's such a good game, man. I highly, highly recommend playing it because it's the right kind of weird, and it's got something that I want to see more of. And it's just diverse characters. It's they're unabashedly like, it's a woman. You're playing as a woman. You don't get a choice. You're just playing as a woman, and she's cool. Like, she's really cool. She's put in a position of power. She doesn't know why, but she's got some really cool powers. It's outside of, well, not even outside. They genuinely have the best Star Wars Force mechanics in any game. It does it better.
Yeah, that's what my mate said as well.
What, even better than Second Sight?
Oh, mate, Second Sight, remake that.
Yeah, that's one. I pulled that one right out of my
ass. But no, I mean, I would say I would love Dead Space to come back, but what's it called? There is a like spiritual successor to that coming in the PUBG universe.
Oh no!
Right.
Which I've forgotten the name of. I said it last. I think I said it last week.
Bollocks to PUBG, bollocks to Fortnite, can't be
honest. No. So it's not a PUBG game. It's just set like far in the future, so it's not really anything to do with that. It's being published by that company.
Don't scare us like that, Luke. Please.
It like when the trailer came up, I'm sat there watching it, and then he's got this thing on the back of his neck that looks like Dead Space. So I lost my shit. I was watching the live stream. I was like, "Oh my god, is it Dead Space? Is it Dead?" It is not Dead Space, but it's pretty much Dead Space. It's the same. It's like the creator of Dead Space has moved on.
I ain't being funny. Since you
what the fuck is it?
Since you just said the name Alan Wake to me, I'm literally on the verge of rebuying that game to play it. I loved it. I really, really loved it.
Did you play? Is it called American Nightmare? There's like a add-on.
I didn't.
That follows on. That's really interesting because you play. It follows on a bit. It's not DLC and it's not an expansion. It's just like an extra bit that you can buy separately. And it follows a bit after where you are stuck in wherever the fuck it is that he's stuck. Alan Wake is
just
Alan Wake
such an interesting concept of a horror game, like it follows some like very standard like Resident Evil tried and tested mechanics.
Yeah.
But like the actual story behind it was the thing that like really gripped.
Yeah, and they've tied that into Control. Like there is, as I said, there is DLC, but even before that, there was a lot of like files and stuff like that you could find that would reference it as an AWE, I think they called it, an altered world event. But you really should play Control. If you loved Alan Wake, you're gonna love Control, mate. Control.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely have a look. Yeah.
I've committed myself to this
Control
Resident Evil thing now, though.
That's fine because you need breaks. I really struggle when I try and just like mainline.
Well, I can complete Resident Evil 1 within about 2 hours. I remember that like the back of my hand. Resi 2, I remember fairly well, not as well as Resi 1, like talking about the classics. Resi 3, again, probably know a little bit less than 2, but I reckon I could knock all 3 of those games out within an afternoon of just continuous playing. Zero is probably the one I remember the least, but I also remember that none of the puzzles are that complicated. And then
Code Veronica was one that would be least on my radar. But
I'd be really interested in a proper like Resident Evil 2 style remake of that because I don't know anything about that game. I just know it's a more direct follow on from.
A really good game. Especially as far as it being a spin-off game, like in quotations, being a spin-off game, because it.
But that tends to be what their better games are, because Resident Evil 3 was a spin-off until what was meant to be Resident Evil 3 got cancelled. That's why it's not called Resident Evil 3. It was
you say that?
Nemesis.
Did you play the Outbreak games? Because they weren't great.
I didn't.
Yeah, I
really. I mean, I did enjoy them, but they weren't great. I think I was just, especially as a sort of teenager, probably talking more when Resi 5 came out. Me and my best friend in school were like super into Resident Evil. We just went on this binge of buying every single thing related to the Resident Evil IP, and we got all of these games. I can't even remember the names of half of them, and played through all of them, and most of them were trash, but it was just nice building up the background story, because there are, like, even in those Outbreak games, there was like little tidbits of information you get that would like fulfill more of the actual story that you'd be missing from some of the other games. Not that it's a hard story to follow along with, but it's just nice hearing characters' names mentioned in other games as well, and just seeing other connections.
Sure, yeah.
Have you got a series that you'd like to come back, Jake?
No,
No.
it all stays where it was.
I mean,
Because I mean, there is a lot of argument against it as well. It's like, why can't we just have new things? Why can't we have new ideas?
Yeah.
Like Dead Space, for instance.
Yeah,
Dead Space
but
was
that's how
literally-
people's brains are wired, isn't it? Like,
Oh, for sure.
you know.
Because I mean, we look to the past mostly for new ideas anyway.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I think, like, I mean, I love new ideas, but I believe everyone sort of feels a bit more comfortable with something that they know.
nostalgic IP, I mean, we've mentioned a lot of stuff.
And that seems to be a thing, doesn't it? Like, certainly the recent year or so, couple of years, it's like, oh, everything's getting a remaster, or, and that's nice, and it cures the itch for a little while, but maybe not. It's not. Yeah. It doesn't last as long as you kind of think it will in your head.
I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, like the Tony Hawk remakes were a test to that. They kind of came and went, even though there was a huge amount of buzz about them.
I had a lot of fun right up to the point I completed them, and I was about to say this as well about Resident Evil 3 Remake. Total playtime 8.6 hours, done. And that was multiple completions as well.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Though,
if I'm into, I spent loads of time in. I say loads of time. It was about 12 hours altogether, I think. But in Resident Evil 2, I spent loads of time just chilling around, like reading everything and absorbing everything.
I hit 30 hours on 2.
That game so much.
Well, 30.2 hours if you want to be real precise.
That's multiple.
Yeah,
though,
that's
right?
that's multiple
That's loads of
run throughs.
I only did 2. I did Leon
Most
and then
of that was me trying to get S plus rank.
Oh, I don't even bother with that.
Oh, yeah, not easy to achieve, mate.
No. I had S. I had S for both campaigns, but I just couldn't quite get the time down for the plus. Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah, speedrunning's fun, but hey, I think that'll do it. We're about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think that will about do us for this week. Hopefully, there's some news to talk about next week. Otherwise, we will just ramble again.
Yeah.
Which is fun. That's what we tend to do.
Yeah. If people want to watch an hour and a half of 3 guys rambling, then go ahead.
Pint time coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sponsored by Pint Time.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah.
If we're ever allowed outside again.
Coming to a city near you, circa
I've still
April.
got the countdown up.
Well, but probably not a city near you. It'll probably still be here. You'd have to come here. We're not travelling.
Yeah, that's true.
None of that. Can't be bothered with that.
You are the laziest driver in the world.
Well, there's nowhere to go at the moment, so
Who say?
I think that's okay.
Yeah. maybe you're
37
right.
days though.
But
Yeah.
37 days.
Yeah, we'll
We'll update you next week and tell you how many days. Well, it'll be 30 days. Next
Well,
week.
yeah.
Spoiler
yeah,
alert.
Probably. Yeah.
Unless we run
I mean,
late
to be fair,
or
that-
early. Maybe we do it a day early just to shake
That's
things
for
up
a
or
beer
something.
garden. Beer in the park with 5 friends is 23 days. So
And that's nothing.
yeah, exactly.
We definitely need to save that. Jay, did you say you bookmarked it?
Yeah, I've got this. onewayroadtobeer.com.
Great. Grand. They don't need to know that. They can come to us for the update.
All right. I'll bleep.
Yeah,
I'll
it
bleep
just
This
takes,
isn't gonna
it
be a
just takes
very
an
long
hour and 40 minutes for it to actually come across.
Yeah. You got to, mate. I had to play 40 hours of Death Stranding before I got any good story.
Yeah.
You could sit through an hour and a half to find out how much longer you got to wait for a pint.
Beer in the park with 1 friend. 2 days, 5 hours, 57 minutes, and 25 seconds.
And considering generally this goes out on a Saturday, this is outdated already.
Hey.
Yeah, good job, boys.
So take whatever time Jake's given you with a large pinch of salt. Maybe just a whole
Just
full
get ready
fist
for
of salt.
Pinch
carnage.
of salt and a shot of tequila soon.
Monday the 8th. Yeah, just get ready for carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounds about
it's going to be
Very controlled and responsible
it's going to be a
carnage.
nightmare for supermarkets. It's going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even going to
Yeah.
bother. I'm just gonna stay home,
Yeah. I'm sick.
Which is pretty standard fare.
Yeah, safety first.
Absolutely. But yes, that will do us for episode 3. Hopefully we'll have Tom back again next week. We'll see what the schedules is like.
No idea what I'm working.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. At the very least, you'll be back at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been nice. Yeah, it's been nice to chat shit. We're so good at it that
Yes.
we had to put it out there. So why not?
Absolutely. I mean that's God, I said it before. That's pretty much the tagline of this. It's a couple of friends who can't go to the pub, like going to the pub chatting about video games. What happens when you close the pubs?
Exactly.
They just chat shit and put it on the internet instead.
And it's been ages. We're not out of our minds yet. So hopefully not.
Well, I don't think I was ever in my mind. But, yeah. I never had any marbles to lose, sort of thing.
Very nice.
Just hey ho. But yes, that's been episode 3. It's been a especially rambly one because, as I said, no news this week. I'd be surprised if there's much news next week either. So we'll have to think of a topic of some kind. But if you've got any ideas for a topic, I have an email address you can send it to. It's esgvids@gmail.com. But, there is no news, so we're kind of starved for content at the minute. So give us some ideas. What do we need to do? If you've got any comments, any improvements you think we can make, just let us know. Thanks for listening. And we'll probably see you again next week. Me and Jake probably will. We don't know what's going to happen yet. But hopefully Tom will join us as well.
Let's hope so.
Aye, we do. But that is all for this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye. it.